So, hello everyone, I'm from Lovely University Karwara. Today we are on the dictionaries. So, for the dictionaries, before that we have learned tuples, lists, strings. Okay, tuples and lists are data structures where a string is a data type. Okay, in tuples are immutable, ordered. Okay, as well as lists are mutable and ordered also. In both of them you can use indexing and slicing. Okay, both of them, they both have their own operators. Okay, and for using their operators, the basic syntax is name of that tuple or variable dot the operator you want to use, and then bracket, and then whatever you want. So that's that's from our previous lecture, guys. So let's start with this one. Okay, so now we learn how to store multiple values together when data should be mutable. Okay, when it should be immutable, and how we are going to store data today. It's more interesting. Okay, because we are going to learn one of the most powerful data structures in Python. Okay, it's used in almost every real world application. It's actually it's used in every real world application, even in our it's in use. Okay, and that's dictionaries. Okay, dictionaries, there are really multiple things which we want to learn. Okay, but before I tell you what dictionary is, let me ask you some. Let me ask you a simple question. Okay, and that simple question is: suppose I ask you to store information about a student. Okay, the student's name is Ankit. His age is 20, and his city of residence is Delhi. Okay, so now most beginners will write it all in a list. You know how can we write a list? We'll create a list named data. Then we'll just write its name, age, city, and its class. Okay, then it's done. Okay. But you know what's the issue with this? The main issue with this thing is that how do I know which value is age, which value is class, which value is what? Okay, someone like see, someone will say that I have written it so I know. But for user cannot know it. It's easily saved. For some people, this looks perfectly fine, but it's not. So, then, can you guys give me a comment down there that answer this question? How do I know which value is the age? You people will answer that index 1. Okay, great. Yeah, that's great. Okay, but now imagine there are 25th with 25 values. Okay, now how will another programmer know that index 7 means what? Index 12 means he actually he actually won't. Okay, so indexes are just numbers. They don't tell us what the data actually means. Okay, so that's the biggest weakness of this. Okay, let's go to a real life example. Okay, now imagine your phone calls or phone contacts. When your mother calls you, does your phone display contact number 47? No, it displays her contact name which is saved by you, mom, anything like that. Why? Because every contact has a name and a number. And this relationship is actually known as the key and the value, where the key is a name and the value is a number. Okay, let's go to another example. Okay, guys, imagine our Aadhaar card. Okay, it contains date of birth, address, gender, Aadhaar number. Okay, every piece of information has a label, and those labels are keys, and their information is actually value. What I'm speaking about is that if I'm writing name equals to Harshit, this name is actually this name is actually a key, and this Harshit is actually a this Harshit is actually a value. Okay, so every piece of information has a label. Okay, now let's just move to a Python. Okay, so Python says instead of storing data like we used to store them in lists, can we store the data in a manner? Okay, in a, in a manner over here. Okay, store the data like and store the data like this. Can we store the data like this? Okay, so Python says this. So now, see this. Now immediately the data becomes readable. Okay, so this way of writing the data is known as dictionaries. Okay, so let me just tell you the formal definition of dictionary. So a dictionary is actually a collection of key and value pairs enclosed inside curly braces. Okay, let's just understand this definition word by word. Okay, so when I'm explaining this by word, the first word which comes in our mind is collection. Okay, what's collection? Collection is actually what what we have when we are having different things of different types. Imagine I have one mango. Okay, that's a single element. Now imagine if I'm having a mango, a cabbage, a mobile phone, and a pen drive. Now it's collection of items. Okay, so it's called a collection. When data type stores multiple elements, it, it counts as a collection. Okay, now let's just move towards the next word, which is key. Imagine key is a label. Okay, if I'm saying that gives me a Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a label. Okay, now the shopkeeper knows when I'm saying a Coca-Cola, that means I want a soft drink. Okay, so that's a label. So that label is actually a key. More simpler way to understand for a label, label is a name. Label is this word. Okay, label is this word. Name, age, city, pin code, degree, anything like this is known as name. Okay, now there comes a third word, value. Value is the information that is attached to that label. Okay, for example, for a label name, the value which will be attached might be Harshit, Divyanshu, Aman, anything like that. So our value is the information which is attached to our key. Now let's understand this. Okay, let's understand this. Okay, guys, that the, the words which are written on left hand side, those are those are my keys, and the words which are written on my right hand side, those are my labels. Okay, so those things are my labels. So when I'm talking about the key name, I have my label, I have my value Harshit. When I'm talking about my key age, I have my value 20. When I'm talking about my key city, I have my value as Delhi. So this is our key names. Okay. Now let's understand how can we actually create it. for creating dictionaries, we have we have actually created a dictionary right here. This for creating a dictionary, assign. Let me change this date. Change the data. Now, for creating a dictionary, we have to assign a variable name. Inside that variable name, on left hand side, we will be writing the keys, and on the right hand side, we will be writing the variable value. Okay, and every keys and values will be separated by this little thing which is known as a column. Okay, and every key value pair is separated by another key value pair with the help of this comma. So now, if I just if I'll just do one thing, what can I do? If I just if I just print dictionary which says print data, and I'll put enter. Okay, I have got a dictionary of my. Okay, so actually this is how we can actually print a dictionary, and we can actually see the output. It's also in dictionary. Okay, now we have we have to access some elements, access some values from the dictionaries. Okay, so we don't use indexes here. What we actually use is we use keys. For let's take an example. Okay, for a key name, the output must be perfect. Okay, to access that key, okay, to access that key, there is a syntax. That syntax is name of our dictionary. Okay, square braces and our name of a key. That's our syntax. Okay. And name of my key is this. Now if I just print it, this label now will call this value which will be printed out here. See, now now why it's better than lists. Okay. Because the code becomes self-explanatory. Okay. That means when I'm calling name, I'm actually getting a name. I'm not calling by any indexes. That's why it's easier to understand. Now let's understand how can we add new data. So suppose there is my dictionary known as data. Okay. Now we need to add here uh, we need to add here city. Okay. So what can I actually add? How can I actually add here? So I just do nothing. I just put my data. I just write this. Okay. I just write this like this. Then I'll just do one thing. I'll just enter here. Okay. So now I have actually created now I have actually got my key. For that key I have a value. So that value is Delhi. Now if I print it, okay, now if I print data, it now also contains city as a key and Delhi as a value. Okay. So that's how we can actually add values in these. Dictionaries are also mutable. So we can actually change our values. So see, currently I'm in my hometown. So that's why I'm putting the city as Delhi. But what if I want to change it? So I'll just write data, then square braces obviously. Then I'll write city. And the moment I'm in my college, which is in Punjab, I can write which is in Punjab. So I'll write it. Punjab. Okay, Punjab is not a city, it's a state, I know, but we are just okay. Let me just change it off. So now, if I'll again print this out, I've got my state as Delhi, and then as soon as I'll print it again, print data, okay, and I'll enter it. I'll get my another I'll get my dictionary modified with my state changed to Punjab. So that's how easily we can actually modify the value. See, if the key exists, the value changes. If the key doesn't exist, then it will be added. Okay. Now we will understand how can we actually remove data. Okay. Now let's just understand how can we actually remove data. So for removing data, we have some keywords. For those keywords, let me just brief you guys. There are four keywords: pop, pop item, del, clear. Okay. So now for those keywords, let me just write it here. I'll just write my name, data. Okay. Then there is my keyword. Okay. So now let's just see. Let's just see. Let's just see how what's happening here is our first keyword is pop. Okay. So what is pop? So for this pop, suppose I change my city from Delhi to Mumbai. Okay. Do we remove the entire student? No. We remove the city information. That's exactly what pop does. It removes one specific key. Okay. So it syntaxes the name of our dictionary, dot, pop, and in the bracket is a key. So I can write data dot pop, and in bracket I'll write my key state. Now if I just now if I again paste it here, then we will actually now I've actually changed the keyboard. Okay, and it's my key and string. So now if I enter it, see the key stays has vanished. With that key, the value has also got removed. Okay, so now as we have seen it in pop, now as my output is not no more contained in the state part, okay, only that state key has disappeared. Every other data has stayed. Okay, so its interesting feature is that pop returns the value removed. You know what does it mean? That if I just create it as a variable, and now I'll write instead of print data, I'll just put print C and I'll enter it. It removes. So what it has actually removed, it will actually give me the data. That yeah, I have removed this. So now Python didn't just delete the value, it also gave it back to us. This is useful if we want to save or display the removal values also. What if the key doesn't exist? Then our output will be a key error. Why did this happen is because that particular key is in not the dictionary, so it's not available. For avoiding this letter, we, we will write, for avoiding this letter, we can write here comma, fill in this, and not found. Now, it's a no more give us that, when I'm just doing this, let's do this, but I'll just write print, not print, yeah, print. Now, if I enter it, See, now instead of saying that there is a key error, it is return name not found. You know, I can actually show you people what if I not write that not found. See, it is given me a key error state. So that's why that's important to give this not found. Okay. So now let's just leave. Now let's just see a real life example. Understand a student's email has been removed. Okay. Now in Python, we can remove it very easily. Okay. Now imagine imagine the situation and then so a product has been removed from our inventory. Okay. So we can actually write the name of the dictionary dot pop keyword bracket inside the bracket whatever element you want to be. Then now there comes the pop item. Now let me ask you one more thing. What if I don't care which item gets removed? I simply want to remove the last thing of the key value field. That's what pop item does. It actually removes the last entered key. Okay, in this no key is required. So let me just give you the example. When you guys will see the example, it's more it's more similar to removing a key, but we are removing it from the end. Okay, now if I just try it, try pop height, and then I have to remove all this. Okay, and just print C also. So now when we see the very last element is now removed. So that's what this pop item does. Okay, now as we have understood how this pop item actually does, let's take a real life example, real life use. See, when we are undoing the most recently added recall, this pop item actually helps us. Now, another example, we can remove the latest temporary entry by using this pop item, okay? Or we can implement stack-like behavior. If any one of you people understand what stack says, then you guys will understand what this pop item will do. Okay. Now there is a third keyword, del. Okay. So del is actually not a dictionary method. It can delete many different things. Variables, list elements, dictionary keys, and entire dictionary. So if we want to delete one key, we will just use the del keyword, okay, on that key. But you see, if we want to delete an entire dictionary, we'll use the del keyword and we'll write the dictionary's name. Let me just show you. If I just write del bracket and I want to remove age. Okay. Let me just now if I've entered this, so like I'll write del data. Now when I've written this, and if I just do this, so see the age is removed. And if I want to actually remove the whole dictionary, I just write the del keyword in the dictionary name. See, name data is not found because we have actually removed it. So see, del is actually it's very powerful that it can delete entire dictionaries, keys, everything. Okay. So what's the difference between pop and del? Okay, which one is better? It depends on the situation. Okay, pop is actually used when we want to remove one key. Okay, or we return the removed when we want to return the remove. But Dell removes a key. It doesn't return anything. And can even delete entire dictionaries. Then there comes then there comes our clear keyword. Okay. Suppose a class send a new batch arrives. So we want to remove every student six. So should we delete one key at a time or we simply empty the dictionary? We choose the empty the dictionary part. That's where our clear thing actually comes. When we will use the clear keyword, it will actually remove every data of the dictionary. Okay, by maintaining it as a dictionary. The dictionary will still exist. If I just try it, I will just try it. The name of the dictionary, and then when I enter it, the dictionary is empty. Why? Because it is actually removed every possible data which is written inside the dictionary. Okay. So what's the difference between clear and delete? Many of you people will get confused. But let's just understand. In clear, dictionary becomes empty. But where we delete, the whole dictionary leaves. The whole dictionary is now is not existing. Okay. If I give you a comparison, pop actually removes one key and delete can also remove only one key. Okay, it can also remove a single key. Pop item removes the items from the last, and clear actually removes every single data which is written in our dictionary. So now what's your assignment to do is that uh, create a dictionary and perform all these four operations: delete, pop item, and clear on the dictionary. Okay. So what will this do is this will actually make you guys aware that how can we actually use those dictionaries. Okay. So after this, let me just move towards my next topic. Okay. So my next topic is my next topic is actually how can we actually how many types of dictionaries are there and what can we actually do with those dictionaries. So at first we actually have we actually have many important methods in dictionaries. Okay. First method is keys, second is value, third is item, fourth is get, then update, copy, clear, pop, pop item, set default, and from keys. Okay. Every I will give you the definition of every keyword, the syntax of everyone, and the examples. So let me just show these keywords now. So see that. One, two, three, and I'll show you the keywords. Keys, value, item, get, update, copy, clear, pop item, set default, and from keys. All these are the keywords which we are going to use. Okay. So let me just teach you these all so that we don't leave anything behind. Okay. So we already got an idea what how pop actually works. Okay. Then how pop actually works. So let us start with our keys. Okay, keys works. Its purpose is it actually returns all the keys present in the dictionary. So if I just try it and remember syntax of writing all these is wait, let me just syntax of writing all these is the name of our dictionary dot the keyword and the that's their syntax. Now if I'll just print it, let me just assign to a variable C. Now I'm printing it, print C. Okay, and I'll just enter it. Property needs to be. Okay, I meant keys actually. So see, it has given me every key which is there in my dictionary. Similar function is being performed by values. Okay, as I enter it, it will give me every value which is in my dictionary. Now for my items thing, okay, there is there is one more thing. When we are getting the output, it's a list. Okay, so we can actually use it with loop. How can we use it with loop? Let me show you. See, now we got every key in a different line. So by using loops, we can actually do this thing. So now let's just move towards next topic, okay, which is the item keyword. Okay, we can do the same thing with the value. Now for my item keyword, it actually returns me both keys and value together as a pair. So let's see how can we actually get code. I have got every key and value as a pair now while with using my items key. And if I just do that, and I'll just write items, now I have to get now if I just enter it, now if I just enter it, wait, that is not. Now when I'm entering it, I'll get every key and value as a pair of dictionary. Okay. So this is where we can use item keyword also. Now our another keyword comes which comes with get. Okay. So the purpose of get is that we can access a value while using the key safely. Okay. So let me show you. I'll type my get keyword and now I'll enter my key name and I'll get my output as well. It's more safer option because if I'll write wrong keyword, it says none. That means none, there is no value of the keyword. But if I'll not use my get keyword, it will actually give me an error. Key error it will give me. So that's how we can use our get. Okay. Now we can actually use our update also. So by using our update, we can actually update the values from keys and keys. Okay. So when we are using updates, we can actually use new key value pairs so we can modify the existing ones. Okay. So when we are using the update keyword, let me just see the update meaning. Yes. Okay. Now if I print it, okay, closing parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Wait, 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 going on this, hold down. Okay. Here we have to print the data, not the variable. So now if I do it like this, now it is given me it is added one more name. Name. Actually, I can make name. That's why it is added one. If I just write name, it will actually update it. See, that's why our update keyword is right there. Okay. Then there comes copy, clear, pop and pop can be new. Okay. So let's just do the copy the clear keyword also. For the copy keyword, we can actually create a copy of our dictionary. But what do I mean is, if I just write C is equal to data dot copy. Now if I'll just print C, okay. So now I can have my own copy of my dictionary. So that's what we can do by using the copy keyword. Okay. What's the difference with copy and without copy is that with our copy keyword, we can actually we can actually copy our whole dictionary. Okay. But without our copy keyword, we have to manually copy it. Then there comes a clear keyword, let me know what it actually does. Then there is pop. Then there is our pop item. Then there is another. Then there is a new keyword, set default. You know, what its purpose is, it returns the value of a key. If the key exists, it will actually return us a value. But if key doesn't exist, it will create it. What do I mean is, let me show you an example. I have actually done this one in my notes so that because I was also forgetting this one again and again. So let me show you this example. See, now in this dictionary student, there is a key value there, name as her name and her place. Now if I want to set default name, you know what can be my output? My output will be Harshit. You all know that. But now what if key doesn't exist? See, now if I'll enter it, it's giving me Harshit. Okay. But now what if the key doesn't exist? I'll write the age here. Okay. And after that age, I'll write a comma and I'll write 12. Now, if I'll enter it, it will actually create a default value. So that's how we can actually create a default value. It's very useful for initializing values. Okay. So now there is another keyword which is from key. From keys creates a new dictionary from list of keys. So see, let me show you its syntax. I have a dictionary known as students. Okay. Now I want to create a dictionary known as results which carries the data of students. Okay. So my okay, let's just take another example. Let me just let's just have a dictionary with subjects and I want to get keys from that subject. So, so if I'll just okay. So now what's happening here is I have given every key in this subject. Okay. Now I have created a list of keys. Then now whenever I write this result from keys, subjects, okay, I'll have my results. Now when I'm doing it, so it has given me a dictionary made up of those keywords on a list. Okay. So now a complete method summary is that the keys keywords give us all the keys, the value keywords give us all the value, item keywords gives key value first, get keyword give us safely access the value, access to value, update keyword gives us to update and add keywords, okay. Then copy is actually creating a duplicate dictionary. Then there is clear, which is emptying the whole dictionary. Then there is pop, which actually removes a specific item. And there is pop item, which removes the last item. And then there is set default, which gets the value or creates a key. And then there is from keys, which creates a dictionary from keys. Okay, so that's how we can actually learn methods in Python. Okay, so now methods in dictionary. So now guys, what's happening now? After this, we can use loops with dictionary. As we have done earlier, like we, what we are doing here is we are actually using the loops with the dictionaries. Okay, so you will ask me that how can this thing help us? This thing will help us when we want to access every key and every value individually. You know, when we are using them individually, we can actually access them and we can actually see them in a vertical manner so that it's easier for us to understand. Okay, then after using loops in our dictionaries, we can have nested dictionaries. You know, just like we can have nested lists, we can actually have nested dictionaries also. So now there are real life applications of dictionaries. For example, a YouTube user. Okay, for them, there will be a dictionary created named as user. In that dictionary, there will be a key name, username. In front of that key, there will be a name. Then after that, there will be a key named as subscribers. In front of that, there will be subscribers. And then there will be another keyword known as monetize. Okay. And then in front of it, it will be written yes or no. That's a real life example. Right? So, see, dictionaries are actually getting used in every other way which we can use. Okay. Now, I have 12 little programs for you people. Okay. So the first program is create a dictionary of a student. The second is print values using keys. And third is add a new key value pair, update the marks, delete a key, count total keys, print all the values, print both keys and values. And just like doing this, you guys will understand how keys are actually working. Okay. Now your assignment is uh, besides from these programs, your assignment is to create a student dictionary with name, roll number, branch, and marks. Then print each value using the keys. Okay. Then update print marks and display the updated dictionary. Add a new key called email to an existing dictionary. Okay. And remove the city from that dictionary. These are your these are your homeworks. Now let's just move towards sets. So see what are actually sets? We have learned in our 11th or 12th that set is a data type. Set is something which is written in curly braces. Okay, so so for our first set thing, okay, we write them curly braces. Okay, now imagine there are 100 students in a class. Okay, so and they are scanning their ID card for attendance. So attendance system will receive them in order, not in ordered manner, and there will be repetitions. Okay, so because lists keep duplicates. That's why we can't actually store the attendance part in the list. But attendance should count each student only once. So that's where our sets actually help us. Same, same another example. If suppose a bug causes someone to follow us on Instagram or Telegram, on Twitter or on LinkedIn 3 or 4 times, should the should the regarding application show followers increase by 3? No, it should show follower increased by 1. Okay, so see, that's where the concept of sets actually rolls in. So now we will understand what set is. Okay, so now sets, the dictionary, not the formal language for set is a set is an unordered collection of unique elements enclosed by curly braces. Okay, now we know now we know the meaning of collection. Okay, now there is a new word unique. This unique word says that it's the most important feature of a set because this unique word's definition is that it's not in this the duplicate values are removed automatically. Then there comes another word unordered. Unlike lists, sets don't guarantee element order. So if I'll give you guys a list, if I'll show you guys a set, let me just give you it. If I'll show you a set, this thing is a set. Okay. Now if I'll just enter some random numbers, these numbers now will not appear in the same order when I'm printing them. I'll print them once. Okay. See, they are not in same order. Again, when I'm printing them again, they will not in the same. So that's how sets are unordered. Okay. Now let's just start understanding that how can we actually create sets. Okay. So creating sets, we will use curly braces and we will put every value inside them separated by. Okay. Now in the set, it can actually give duplicated value. See, if I just write 10 multiple times and I'll not print it, I'll only get 10. So that's why sets are important to us because it is actually unique. And you'll ask me where did the duplicate tends to? Python actually removes them. So that's how duplicate removal is there in sets. Okay. Now let's just understand what's the difference between lists and sets in sets. Okay. In lists, those are ordered, mutable, and those are unique. Those are not unique. Okay. But whereas in sets, those are unique. Those are unordered. There is no indexing, but sets are mutable but not changeable. Okay. There's a difference in that. I'll tell you. Okay. See, now if I'll ask you that how can we actually have an empty set? For an empty set, you guys will say that okay, don't do anything, just remove every value which is inside this set. Okay. Now now if you will write type now if you guys will write type A, you will enter it. It's a dictionary. It's not a set, right? Why? Because two curly braces create an empty dictionary, not an empty set. Empty set is defined by writing A, then there is set in bracket. Okay, this will create an empty set. Now if I'll ask the value, it has created a set. So that's how we can actually create an empty set. Now For adding elements in a set, there is a keyword known as add. So let me show you the keyword. Then, then, then if I write a dot add, and then I write some keyword. Okay. Now I just print it out. See, another element gets added in the set. So that's how we can add elements. Okay. Now for removing, there are four keywords. Remove, discard, pop, clear. We can understand that clear actually removes, empties the set. Pop will remove, okay. Then pop will actually remove a particular element. Okay. And remove will actually raise an error if there is no such element name. Okay. So in discard it will actually not give an error. So, let me just show you guys. If I just try now, remove. So it will give me an error. But if I just show you, if I just write discard and I'll enter it, see it isn't given me now. If I just write pop here, it will again taken, it will again give me an error. Okay, then there is this clear thing. Okay, so I will try it. Okay, let me just do the front screen. So pop removes the elements which are at start. Okay, and then the clear one, the clear will actually empty the set. So that's how our save operators work. Now there are operators in set. Okay, one of them is one of them is intersection. Okay, as we have learned in our maths in 11, intersection, then there is difference, then symmetric difference. Okay, so these are our operators. And what's the sign of operators? Let me just show you guys. And there is union operator also. You guys remember it from 10, very well and good guys. Not 10, 11, 12, or what the class we have learned this. Now so I'll write print AB. This straight line is part of a union operator. It is given me a union. Now if I ask it to difference, it will give me this. Okay. Mhm. Now if I just now there is the operator intersection. Okay. We just add a single value here. Now if I just check for the intersection, my output will be an intersected value. My output will be an intersected value. Then there is another operator. Okay. Now if I just write that operator, see that's how common difference. Common difference. Okay. So each of these operators are working on sets. Okay. Then there are membership things. Okay. That membership operators are usually working in sets as in and not in operators. Then we can actually use loops in the sets just like we did in dictionaries. The real world application of sets is attendance marking systems, lottery systems, email subscriber systems. This was our sets guide. Common mistakes in sets is that please don't enter any indexes and element in sets while using their indexes. Please don't. Because sets are unordered, so they don't have an index. So till now I have taught you guys every data structure. Okay. So from next video we will be covering the functions. Okay. So before that functions, please understand every each of these truly. Okay. Till then, keep solving, stay safe, bye bye.